Today, I'll show you the entire process of painting this guitar, from a kit guitar to a finished instrument. First comes the initial inspection and a light water wipe. This raises the grain, so the surface can be made perfectly smooth afterward. Once the wood dries, I do the final sanding, bringing the body to the condition where I can start working with color. Next is the hand-applied stain. The color is added gradually and carefully to highlight the natural texture of the wood rather than cover it. First, I apply a very warm violet color. It's almost pink. At this stage, there's nothing difficult, but there's nothing impressive to look at either. Then, I add a diluted blue, and that warm violet turns into a deep, cold shade. I try to make the transition as smooth as possible, but it still doesn't look very striking yet. And then comes my secret ingredient. Once it's applied, everything suddenly becomes much more expressive, and the color transitions turn out beautifully. After the first stain layer, I apply the first coats of lacquer. At this stage, poplar usually reveals its surprises, so I have to fill small pores and imperfections. That's just part of working with this type of wood. When everything is leveled, you need to thoroughly degrease the surface and apply lacquer to the prepared top. A few passes, usually 2 heavy coats, and with each application the surface becomes smoother. And finally, after several days, the surface is perfectly smooth. But there are some nuances. You can't really see it on video, but the top still has slight color inconsistencies after all the sanding, and the tint itself isn't perfectly even. Creating a very soft gradient on burl poplar by hand is a pretty challenging task. The goal is simple. I even out the color using a spray gun. It's a time-consuming process that takes quite a while, but there's no way around it. In the video, it looks like just a few seconds, but in reality, I spent about an hour on this. But it finally looks right, so I seal everything with a heavy coat of lacquer, and it's done. I left the assembly process off camera, and here's the final result. A guitar whose paint job alone took 4 days to complete. Was the result worth the time spent or not? And if it's not too much trouble, rate the guitar in the comments.